When you hear the words, "God showed me the end of the world in September," your mind may first fill with fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of the unknown. But if you listen more deeply, beyond the trembling of your heart, beyond the stories your mind begins to weave, there is a truth hidden inside this vision. That truth is impermanence. Everything that begins has an end. Every breath you take eventually exhales. Every day that rises with the sun eventually fades into night. Every human born into this world will one day return to the soil. To deny this is to live asleep, but to accept it is to awaken into life fully. Awareness of impermanence is not meant to be heavy. It is not meant to crush you with sadness or anxiety. It is meant to free you. Because once you realize nothing lasts forever, you begin to see what truly matters. Think of the last time you held the hand of someone you love. Did you hold it as if it would always be there? Or did you realize that each touch could be the last? Imagine looking into the eyes of your parents, your children, your friends. Imagine truly feeling that this moment, right now, will never return again. What would change in you if you saw life this way? What would shift in your heart if you woke up each morning with the awareness that this exact sunrise is a gift that will never be repeated? This is the wisdom hidden in the vision of the end. Most people live as if life is permanent. They rush through mornings without noticing the sky. They eat food without gratitude. They pass by people with eyes downcast, not realizing that one smile exchanged could heal a wound in another's heart. We walk through our days half asleep, believing that tomorrow is guaranteed. But the vision of the end of the world in September comes as a shaking, a thunder in your soul, reminding you that nothing is guaranteed. Tomorrow may not come. The next season may never arrive. The people you cherish may not be here forever. So what will you do with today? When you truly absorb impermanence, you stop chasing illusions. The world trains you to run after possessions, after status, after recognition. But what is the worth of a golden throne if tomorrow the ground swallows it whole? What is the worth of endless money if one breath is stolen from you in an instant? People destroy their peace running after things that time itself will dissolve. The vision of September says, look deeper. Stop wasting your life on what will vanish. Instead, awaken to what is eternal within the temporary. To live with awareness of impermanence is to live with presence. It means when you drink water, you truly taste it, because you know even this sip is a gift. It means when you hug your child, you hold them fully, because you know one day they will walk away into their own life. It means when you listen to music, you close your eyes and let every note enter your being, because that song, in that exact form, may never reach you again. Impermanence makes everything precious. It is not the enemy of joy, it is the root of it. Think of a flower. If flowers bloomed forever, would you notice their beauty? If the cherry blossom did not fall, would its pink sky of petals mean as much? It is precisely because the flower fades that we bow to its beauty. It is because the blossom falls that we treasure its moment. So too with your life. Your limited days are the very reason they matter. You do not need forever to make your existence meaningful. You need awareness. Awareness sharpens the colors of the world. Awareness magnifies the sacredness of every heartbeat. God shows the end of the world not to paralyze you, but to liberate you. Liberation comes when you let go of clinging. You cling to the past, to moments that have already dissolved. Yet no amount of memory will bring them back. You cling to the future, to dreams and fears that may never unfold. Yet no amount of worry will give you control. Impermanence teaches you to let go, to release your grip, to stand in the only place you can ever truly exist, this moment, here and now. When you awaken to impermanence, even suffering shifts its shape. Pain loses its permanence too. The grief that feels endless will one day soften. The heartbreak that seems unbearable will eventually transform. The night always turns to day, no matter how long it feels. So when you suffer, remind yourself this too will pass. And when you rejoice, remind yourself this too will pass. With this balance, you learn neither to drown in despair nor to become intoxicated by joy. You learn to walk the middle path, the path of presence, the path of wisdom. The end of the world in September is a mirror, showing you the fragility of what you take for granted. Look at your relationships. How many times have you withheld love because of pride? How many times have you stayed silent when your heart wanted to speak? If September truly were the end, would those walls still matter? Or would you run without hesitation to say, I love you, I forgive you, I am grateful for you? Awareness of impermanence softens the heart because it shows us how foolish it is to waste time in anger, in grudges, in ego. One day the person you are angry at will no longer exist. One day the opportunity to reconcile will be gone forever. So why wait? Why let the illusion of permanence poison your days? Impermanence is also a teacher of humility. You may think yourself powerful, secure, untouchable, but one storm can sweep it all away. One illness can collapse your plans. One shift in the earth can erase entire empires. When you see this, you realize that control is an illusion, and humility becomes wisdom. The greatest kings and the humblest beggars both return to dust. The rich and the poor both face the silence of the grave. Knowing this, why cling to arrogance? Why boast of achievements that time itself will forget? The awareness of impermanence strips away pride and opens the doorway to compassion. For when you see impermanence in yourself, you also see it in others. You see that the person standing before you, struggling with their own pain, also does not last forever. Suddenly, your heart softens. Suddenly, you forgive faster, you love deeper, you understand more. Because you realize, they too are here only for a short while, and so am I. Let us not waste this brief meeting in conflict. Let us use it for connection. The awareness of impermanence also teaches you courage. Most people delay their dreams because they think they have time. They wait for the right moment to take the risk, to speak their truth, to step into their calling. But the end of the world in September whispers there may be no later. The only right moment is now. If you want to write, begin now. If you want to create, start now. If you want to heal, forgive, change, love, do it now. Impermanence gives urgency, and urgency gives life its fire. Without the flame of urgency, you drift in comfort. With it, you awaken to purpose. Think of a candle. Its light is beautiful precisely because it burns away. If the candle never melted, it would never glow. So too with you. Your life shines brightest when you embrace its fragility. Do not fear your end. Use your end to ignite your life. Let September not be a threat, but a reminder that one day, whether in September or another time, your world will end. But until then, you have the power to live with open eyes, open heart, and open hands. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of September, knowing the world is about to collapse. Would you regret how you lived? Or would you smile, knowing you gave your all? Impermanence is the only truth that can save you from regret. For when you know everything ends, you choose not to waste. You choose to live awake, to live intentionally, to live fully. So, the vision of the end is not a curse. It is a gift. It is God's way of shaking you awake, showing you the fragility of your life so that you may finally live it. Do not run from this truth. Hold it. Let it transform you. Every goodbye, every ending, every loss you have ever experienced was training you for this awareness. Life is fragile. Time is short, and that is what makes it beautiful. The flower blooms, the flower fades. The child laughs, the child grows. The day rises, the day ends. And you too will rise and end. But if you embrace impermanence, you will discover that within the ending lies eternity. Not in the physical world, but in the way your love, your actions, your presence ripple beyond you. Impermanence is the doorway to eternity, if only you have the eyes to see. When you hear the words, God showed me the end of the world in September, a wave of realization must rise in you. It is not only a prophecy of ending, it is also a lesson about how to live in the moments before that end arrives. The lesson is urgency. We live most of our lives as if we have endless days stretching before us, as if time were an infinite resource. But what if you truly understood that the time was short? What if you truly believed that September was the end? How would you move differently? What would you stop postponing? What words would you finally say? What actions would you finally take? That is the meaning of urgency. Not rushing blindly, but awakening to the preciousness of every hour, every breath, every heartbeat that remains. Most people live as if they are immortal. They push their dreams into the future, thinking they will pursue them when the time is right. They delay speaking truth because they believe another opportunity will come. They withhold love, waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that never arrives. And so their lives slip quietly into mediocrity, not because they lacked strength or talent, but because they lacked urgency. They lived as if life were permanent, as if September would never come. But when God shows you the end, He is giving you a gift, the reminder that time is limited, and that limitation is what makes your life powerful. Imagine carrying a glass of water in your hands, knowing it will spill within minutes. You would drink it carefully, gratefully. Now imagine holding that glass while believing it will never empty. You would grow careless. This is how we treat life. We waste it because we think it is abundant. We squander it because we think more will always come. The truth is, time is slipping even now. With every breath, September draws nearer. With every tick of the clock, one more chance is gone forever. When you understand this, urgency awakens inside you like fire. Urgency does not mean fear. It does not mean panic. It does not mean rushing mindlessly from one thing to another. Urgency means clarity. It means knowing that you do not have forever, and so you do not waste what little you do have. It means prioritizing what matters and discarding what does not. It means choosing courage over hesitation, action over delay, truth over silence. Urgency is the key that unlocks the chains of procrastination. Without it, you remain a prisoner of someday. With it, you step into the power of today. Ask yourself, what have you been postponing? Is it forgiveness you have not offered? Is it the book you have always dreamed of writing? Is it the journey you have promised yourself you would one day take? Is it the simple act of telling someone you love them before it is too late? The vision of September is asking you to look at those things and realize there may be no someday. You only have this day, this moment. The world may not wait for you. Life may not wait for you. So why do you wait for life? People believe urgency is stressful. They believe it means living in pressure. But true urgency is freeing. It strips away what is unnecessary. Think of a man who is told he has only a month to live. Suddenly, he no longer cares about gossip, about petty arguments, about meaningless pursuits. He cares only about the essentials: love, connection, presence, purpose. The end clarifies everything, and clarity is peace. When you awaken urgency, you stop drowning in the noise of the trivial. You focus on what your soul has always wanted to do, but what fear and laziness have silenced. Think of fire. When wood meets flame, it burns brightly because it knows it has only a short time before it turns to ash. The intensity of its blaze comes from the awareness of its end. This is what urgency does to you. It ignites you. It makes your days shine with meaning because you no longer believe they are endless. You realize, I must do this now. I must live now. I must love now. Or have you noticed how people often change when they face death? Suddenly, they become grateful for the smallest things: the touch of wind on their face, the sound of laughter, the warmth of the sun. Why? Because urgency has been forced upon them. But you do not need to wait for illness or tragedy to wake you. God has already shown you the end. September is your teacher. Why wait until you are at the edge of your final breath to start living? Why not begin today, in full awareness, in full urgency? Urgency also awakens discipline. Many people think discipline is about control, about strictness, about forcing yourself. But true discipline is born from urgency. If you knew you had only 30 days left, would you waste time in laziness? Or would you rise each day with determination, knowing the hours are precious? Urgency sharpens your focus. Suddenly, distraction loses its grip. Suddenly, excuses no longer make sense. You realize, I cannot waste time scrolling endlessly. I cannot waste time waiting for motivation. I must move because my days are numbered. And yet, here is the paradox. When you embrace urgency, time feels longer, not shorter. Because urgency makes you present. Without it, days slip by unnoticed. A year passes and you wonder where it went. With urgency, each moment is alive, vivid, sacred. You notice the details. You drink from life fully. Urgency does not shorten your life. It expands it. It makes each second meaningful. Think of how you feel when you are about to leave a place forever. Perhaps it is the last day of a trip, the last time in a childhood home. On that final day, you notice every detail. The color of the walls, the sound of the birds, the smell in the air. You notice because you know it is the last. What if you lived every day like that? What if every day you remembered that September was coming? That awareness would turn the ordinary into extraordinary. The mundane would become sacred. Urgency transforms perception. It makes you alive, but most importantly, urgency gives you courage. Every dream you have, every calling in your soul is blocked by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. And so you delay, telling yourself you will do it later. But when you know later may never come, fear loses its power. What do you have to lose if the end is already near? What is the point of playing safe if the game itself will end? Urgency dissolves fear. It pushes you to leap, to try, to dare. It says, you cannot wait to feel ready, because ready may never come. Do it now. But urgency also transforms relationships. How often do we argue about small things? How often do we let pride stop us from reaching out? But if you knew September was the last month, would you still waste time in silence? Or would you call, forgive, embrace, cherish? Urgency softens the heart because it shows you what truly matters. The end makes love the only reasonable choice. So the vision of September is not about despair. It is about empowerment. It is about living with the fire of urgency. Stop postponing your life. Stop living as if time is infinite. It is not. And that is not something to mourn. It is something to celebrate. Because when time is short, life becomes precious. When you know September is the end, August becomes golden. Every sunrise becomes a miracle. Every breath becomes holy. Look within yourself right now. What is the one thing you have been avoiding? What is the one step you know you must take, but fear has held you back? Imagine September is the end. Will you regret not taking it? If the answer is yes, then urgency is speaking to you. Act now. Say the words now. Begin the journey now. Forgive now. Love now. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for another tomorrow, because tomorrow is a luxury you may not have. The greatest tragedy is not that life ends. It is that we wait too long to begin it. Do not let that be your story. Do not reach September full of regret. Reach it having lived fully, fiercely, urgently. Reach it with the knowledge that you poured your heart into every day. Then, whether the world ends or continues, you will be at peace. So, when God shows you the end, He is not punishing you. He is waking you to urgency, waking you to the fire of now, waking you to the truth that time is not infinite, and that is what makes it sacred. Live urgently, not fearfully. Live urgently, not recklessly. Live urgently, because only urgency can transform your life into something worth remembering. When God shows you the end of the world in September, the first reaction of most people is to look outward. They imagine the collapse of buildings, the silence of cities, the crumbling of the earth, the falling of the skies. They imagine fire, destruction, chaos. They imagine the world outside breaking apart. But the deeper truth of such a vision is not about the outer world. It is about the inner world. The greatest ending that must occur is not the collapse of mountains or oceans, but the collapse of the illusions, fears, and limitations inside you. For even if the external world were to continue forever, what would it matter if inside you remained asleep, chained and untransformed? And even if the outer world were to end tomorrow, if you had awakened within, then no destruction could take away the peace you have already found. This is the meaning of inner transformation. Most people seek to control the outside. They want the weather to change, circumstances to change, other people to change. They live in constant struggle with what is beyond their control. And yet, God's vision of the end shows you the futility of all this. When the world itself is fragile, when entire civilizations can vanish, what hope is there in clinging to outer stability? The only ground that can truly hold you is the one you cultivate within. The transformation of the world outside begins with the transformation of the world inside. When you are no longer a prisoner of fear, when you are no longer bound by anger, when you are no longer addicted to distractions, then even if the external world collapses, you will remain unshaken. Think of a tree. Its strength does not come from the leaves or branches, for those fall away with every season. Its strength comes from the roots, unseen, deep within the earth. The world may strip away your leaves, may break your branches, may even burn your surface, but if your roots are strong, you will endure. Inner transformation is the growing of roots. It is the discovery of a strength not dependent on circumstance. It is the birth of a self that cannot be destroyed even when the outer world ends. But transformation is not easy because it demands death. Not death of the body, but death of the false self. The end of the world in September symbolizes this. The world that ends is not only the physical one, but the world of illusions inside you. The self that clings to status, to possessions, to ego, to fear must end. You must allow parts of yourself to die so that a truer self can be born. Just as a seed must crack open to release the plant within, so must you be broken open to release the spirit inside. The shell you cling to is comfortable, but it also suffocates. Transformation requires courage to break it, so what must die within you? Perhaps it is the fear that has kept you from living fully. Perhaps it is the doubt that whispers you are not enough. Perhaps it is the resentment you carry like chains. Perhaps it is the endless need to please others, to be approved, to be recognized. These must end. They cannot survive the fire of September. If you carry them, you will crumble with them. But if you let them go, if you allow the small self to dissolve, then what remains is untouchable. That is the true you, the part of you that is eternal, infinite, unshaken by endings. Transformation begins with awareness. You must look inward with honesty. You must sit in silence and ask, what parts of me are not real? What habits, what thoughts, what beliefs have I carried without questioning? Most people are afraid of this silence. They avoid it by filling their lives with noise, endless entertainment, endless work, endless distractions. But if you do not look inward, you remain a stranger to yourself. And how can you transform something you do not even know? The end of the world in September calls you to turn inward, to face yourself, to meet the shadows you have avoided. For only when you see them can you release them. Transformation is also about letting go of attachment. The reason endings feel painful is because of clinging. You cling to identities. I am my job. I am my possessions. I am my reputation. But when the world ends, these vanish in an instant. If you cling to them, you vanish too. But if you learn to let go, to release attachment, then you remain free. Inner transformation is the art of holding everything lightly, of loving deeply without clinging, of engaging fully without becoming enslaved. It is the realization that you are not what you own, not what others think of you, not even the roles you play. You are something beyond all of this, something untouched by the changing world. Think of water. Pour it into a cup, and it becomes the cup. Pour it into a bowl, and it becomes the bowl. Spill it on the ground, and it flows freely. Water does not cling to form. It adapts, it flows, it remains itself no matter what contains it. This is the way of inner transformation, to become fluid, free, unbound by rigid identities. When you are like water, even if September brings the breaking of the world, you will flow through it unharmed. But transformation is not only about release. It is also about awakening qualities that have always been within you but have been buried under fear and distraction. Qualities like compassion, courage, clarity, patience, and wisdom. These are not things you must create from the outside. They are seeds already inside you, waiting for light. But like any seed, they cannot grow if you cover them with stones of negativity. Remove the stones, clear the soil, give space, and the seeds will rise. That is inner transformation, not becoming something new, but uncovering what has always been there. Look at the people you admire most. Perhaps they are not the wealthiest or the most powerful, but those who radiate calm in storms, kindness in cruelty, light in darkness. How do they do this? It is not because the world is easier for them, but because they have transformed within. They have built a center that is not shaken by circumstances. They do not escape the world, they transcend it. They remain present, grounded, alive, even when everything around them collapses. This is the gift of transformation. It does not remove challenges, but it gives you the strength to meet them. And here lies the greatest truth: if the world ends in September, the only thing that will matter is the state of your soul. No possession will follow you. No title, no recognition, no applause will mean anything. What will remain is the person you became. Did you transform fear into courage? Did you transform anger into love? Did you transform ignorance into wisdom? These are the only treasures that survive the ending, and they are treasures that can never be taken from you. So do not wait for September to begin transforming. Begin now. Every day is an opportunity to let something die and something new be born. Every day you can choose to end a harmful habit, a destructive thought, a limiting belief. Every day you can choose to plant seeds of compassion, patience, strength. Transformation is not one sudden leap, it is a continual unfolding, like the slow opening of a flower. And yet, when you look back, you will see that the small changes added together have created a new being altogether. It is said that when a caterpillar enters the cocoon, it must dissolve completely before becoming a butterfly. Its old form must end. If it resists, it dies. Only by surrendering to the transformation does it discover wings. You are the same. The end of the world is your cocoon. Will you resist, clinging to your old form, or will you surrender, trusting that within you something greater waits to be born? Inner transformation is the only true security, because the world outside will always change. Seasons shift, empires rise and fall, even stars burn out. If your peace depends on the external, you will always be unstable. But if your peace comes from within, from a heart that has been transformed, then nothing can take it. Even if the world ends in September, you will stand in silence, not in fear, but in deep knowing that you are more than the ending. This is why God shows you the vision, not to terrify you, but to remind you of the only transformation that matters. Do not waste your life polishing the outer walls while your inner temple remains in ruins. Do not spend your years building towers that will crumble while neglecting the foundation within that could hold you forever. When you transform inside, every ending becomes a beginning. Every loss becomes liberation. Every September becomes the seed of eternity. So look within. Ask yourself, what must die in me for me to truly live? What illusions must I release? What truth must I embrace?